to be an English girl playing the role, but in terms of the co-production rules, they weren't allowed to include her. Had to be someone from Australia with the correct paperwork. And they'd been asking me to read opposite other people who were auditioning for the other characters on Farscape. And they said, just read Aaron for us. And that was that's their backdoor way of getting people in that they like for the roles. And I got the call while I was filming Pitch Black to come down and screen test for Farscape.
Great.
So I ended up staying a lot longer than I'd expected. But that's how all the sort of genre work started.
Okay, great.
Are you prepared yet, darling?
I think possibly.
No one's ever truly prepared, if that makes
No,
sense.
that's right. So that's maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, have your genre-related roles been as rewarding as other roles you've had? Sci-fi, fantasy-related roles, have they been as, in perspective, in comparison?
I've loved everything I've done because I wasn't formally trained, so my education came from the set and the stage when I was working as I went. I mean, I did have some training here and there, but I didn't go to a school and get that sort of condensed 3-year or whatever training. Each role has been different. Each time I've learned something different. But in terms of what I was saying as a woman in the industry, it's been the genre work that's been the most exciting for me, because I think one is defined by the things that one turns down as much as the things that one accepts. And I had lots of roles coming my way over the last 10 years that I have turned down because I didn't think they sent out an appropriate message. And I didn't think that they really represented me and what I feel is important to say about being a woman now.
Oh, sorry, wait. Okay. In your talk, you were talking about, downstairs, you were talking about getting into producing and stuff like that. In the 200th episode of Stargate, you were pitching. How much is that going to be your style of pitching your story?
I'm trying to remember how Vala pitched.
You pitched the...
Vala stole, basically, didn't she? She just stole stories.
Stole
that she, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Gilligan's Island,
Yeah.
and yes.
She fell back on what you knew.
The key, exactly. One must write what one knows as well. So for me, going into what I hope will be a successful pitching season with my new projects, the key factor is passion. And I think, and it, you know, they talk about it in, you know, I think in pitching seminars and in documents that discuss how to sort of, you know, do a successful pitch. Unless I'm invested in the material, I'm not going to be very interesting to listen to, and I'm not going to instill any confidence in the people to whom I'm pitching that I can be a storyteller of any value. And just in general, I think on an energetic level, people who are excited and passionate about what they do are people that you want to be around. So I think
I
that's...
was just going through every pitch every show she's ever seen, because she wasn't really invested in anything.
I think Vala was so desperate at that point to be helpful, and she, having had no experience pitching or writing, she was just speaking before thinking. But I think she was very much trying to help, because everyone else in the room seemed to be so bored by it, and I think she was genuinely excited by the possibility and did her best.
I'd like to follow up on an earlier question. Looking back now, you've done 2 rather significant sci-fi shows with significant fan bases, and they're seminal and well-regarded. Would you be hesitant now if someone came to you and said, we have this show, it takes place on a spaceship, and you'll be like the really kick-ass space commander type? Would you be hesitant about something up there?
And we see you wearing black leather and or latex. And you'll be working with Ben Browder. What do you say? My questions right now to people, if I'm going to commit, I mean, there's that, I think it's a cliche now, actors are quoted as saying, you know, the acting I give them for free, it's the time they pay me for. There's other sort of punchlines to that, but the acting pretty much, if we don't love what we're doing, shouldn't be there. I have a family now. I have to really consider how many hours I'm going to be spending away from them, how challenging the role is going to be, how stimulating the role is going to be, who I'm going to be working with as a team, where it's going to shoot, what they hope to achieve with it, how much they're paying me. I have to be honest, but that wasn't the first thing I said.
It's good fun.
And if there's any room for collaboration as far as some of the details vis-a-vis the kick-ass female wearing the latex and leather playing with Ben Browder. Ben Browder, I would jump without thinking to work with him again, without question. And of course I added him to your question rather than you mentioning it yourself. There are certain things, Michael as well, Michael Shanks, in a heartbeat. There has to be, overriding all of that, there does need to be an original, unique aspect to the show, or I'm not interested. No one wants to see something rehashed. And even though they say there may only be 13 original stories retold or reinterpreted, or 26, whatever the quote is, I have to believe that we're bringing something fresh and new to audiences, because creativity is about invention, if not reinvention, to me. So it's the fresh spin, it's the fresh angle, the new perspective, whether it be a wink to the audience. I mean, we obviously had a wink to the audience playing Vala in that moment on SG1 where she sees Ben Browder's character, but I want more than the wink if it's going to be long term.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe.
The follow-up question.
Follow-up. Shakespeare's female characters are extraordinarily strong women by and large, and interesting and deep and flawed. And as you were saying, that's becoming more the norm in science fiction. Is that becoming more the norm, you think, in mainstream films as well, and what's bleeding into what? Is there a cause and effect there?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing was Shakespeare had written incredible roles for women, but women weren't allowed to play them. It was men in dress. So that's where we needed to catch up. First of all, we needed to accept that women had a place in the business. There's very, very juicy roles out there for women in television. Most of my male friends who are actors say that there are way more interesting roles for women right now in the last 2 pilot seasons, as dire as things are right now in the industry. And the pilots that I'm reading, the women are, it's almost become a cliche in and of itself. She's flawed, she's brilliant, she's, whatever. I mean, it's just the adjectives that they're using to describe these women, it's almost impossible that a woman could be all that. And yet, now having become a mother and having to wear multiple hats, I can see what it's like to try and be a woman these days and try and do everything well. And I feel that pressure, and I find that it's really tough. And my mother, who's a big inspiration to me, has a very accomplished academic career, but had very strong values at the same time about how her children should be raised. And that's being reflected in the work that I'm reading right now about women and the choices they have to make and trying to have it all, do it all, be it all. It's that's dramatic and it's interesting.